So today we're going to be learning a 2 by 2 area model. Now don't freak out on me yet. You've done this before with a 1 by 1 and a 1 by 2. We can do a 2 by 2, okay? Let's go over how we do our 2 by 1s, because then we can jump right into how we do our 2 by 2s, and we're just going to do it perfectly, and it's going to be amazing. So remember, first we look at our equation. Our equation is 12 times 3. 12 groups of 3. 12 groups of 3. Okay? Next, we're going to draw our box for the area model. Now, 12 is the larger number compared to 3, right? So 12 is going to go on the longer side of our box. 3 is the smaller number, so we're going to put it on the shorter side of our box. Okay? Now, let's decompose from 12, because 12s are kind of hard for me, right? Well, I know 12 can be 6 plus 6. I like 6 plus 6. But remember, when we decompose a number, you can put it into whatever you like if it adds up correctly. So if you want to do 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, you can do that. You can also do maybe 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. That equals 12 too. I personally like 6 and 6. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have 6 plus 6 as my decomposed number for 12. Now, next we're going to draw our lines in our box proportionately. Well, 6 and 6 are equal, so I can just go straight down the middle, which now gives me my new equations. I now have 3 times 6 and this 3 on this line is the same thing here, so it gives me 3 multiplied by 6. Now 3 times 6, 18. Let's do that in a different color for us, just so we can see better what's going on. 18. 3 times 6 again, 18. And now, because I'm trying to find out what the whole box is, not my little boxes, I'm going to add together 18 plus 18. So now we have 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry the group of 10 over. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30, which gives us our answer of 36. Now, we can do this again, but with 2 by 2 numbers. Let's give it a shot, okay? Erase what we've done here. Wasn't coming off, I'm sorry. Alright. So just like we did last time with our 2 by 1 area model, first question we ask ourselves, what is the equation? Well, today's equation is going to be 15 groups of 23. Let me write that down. 15 groups of 23. Okay? Next, I draw my box. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw a box. Okay? Remember, we try to draw kind of proportionate boxes, okay? So now I say, okay, well, which of my numbers is larger on a number line? I'm going to go with 23 because I'd rather have $23 compared to $15, right? So 23 is our larger number. So we're going to put that on the larger side of our box. 15 is our smaller number, so that is going to go on our smaller side of our box, okay? Now, just like we were doing our 1 by 1 model, or our 2 by 1 model, actually, my apologies. Just like we do our 2 by 1 model, I can decompose 23. Now, I'm not good at my 20 times tables, but I can do 10 times tables and my 3 times tables, right? So I'm going to decompose 23 into 10 plus 10, because that gives me my 20, plus 3, which gives me my 23. Now, we can decompose this number because what we add together up here gives us our total. So I couldn't do 19 and 4 because that only gives me 22. I'm sorry, 24. My apologies. Because that gives me 24. That's not 23. I have to make sure that when I decompose the number, it equals the total number I started with, which is 23. So, just like I do the normal 2 by 1 model, I draw my box proportionately. So, 3 is not going to be very large. Let's give that a small spot, okay? I'm going to bring it over so it's easier for us to follow and for my brain to understand what each of my boxes is. Then we have 10 plus 10. Well, I take my leftover. They're equal. And I'm going to just swing the 10 over again, just so my boxes line up correctly, which I now have 10 plus 10 plus 3, which equals my entire length of 23. So, just like you would decompose your 2 by 1, you can decompose the other number, which makes it so much more fun to multiply. At least to me, because you have more boxes. So now, we have 15. Well, I like 10 times 5. But remember, when we decompose a number, we can make anything we add up here to be 15, as long as it equals 15. We try to pick friendly numbers, like the times tables we know. That's why we do this model. So I'm going to do 10 and 5. So 10 plus 5 gives me my total of 15, which is the total on my side. I'm going to draw my boxes proportionately. So 10 is a little bit bigger than 5, so make sure to draw that right. Okay? Because if I put it up equal, well, 10 and 5 aren't equal. We want the boxes to be kind of equal, because now, look, I have a 10 by 10 and a 10 by 5. Those aren't going to be the same, so the boxes need to be different sizes, okay? Now, just like we were doing before. Wrong color. Sorry. So just like we were doing before, we now have individual boxes. And we need to put our equations in those, as well as we need to add them together, okay? So we have a 10 by 10. We have 10 times 10, which is 100. Write my answer in a different color, just so we can follow it a little bit easier. Then, I have another 10 by 10, just 10 groups of 10, which is another 100. Then I have another 10 multiplied by 3, which is 30. And then I have a 10 multiplied by 5, which is 50. Again, another 10 multiplied by 5, which is 50 again. And lastly, we have 5 groups of 3, which is 15. Now, I used a couple different phrases when I did that, okay? I had 10 by 10, 10 groups of 10, 10 times 10. All of those mean the same thing, okay? Just different ways you can phrase it, and it's vocabulary you need to know, because when we do tests and in the real world, they're going to throw those different phrases at you and expect you to know what they mean, okay? So next, just like we do our 2 by 1 model, we are going to add it up. So we have 100 plus 100. And what I like to do is I like to give the box a check mark after I write it over here to add it all up, all my answers, because it makes life a little easier for me to make sure I got all my numbers. Continuing on, I have 30, 50, 50, and 15. And we are going to make sure we line up our place values when we do our adding. And we're going to add just like normal. Bring it all the way down. I only have a 5 and 1s. Check. Going to my 10s. We got 50 plus 50 is 100. Plus 10 is 110. Plus 30 is 140. Carry over that 10. In the hundreds place, I have 100 plus 100 plus 100, which is 300, which gives me a grand total of 345. Which now we go back to our main problem, just like we do in our 2x1s. We say, okay, we had 15 times 23. After doing my math, Ms. Nesbitt, that is 345. And then Ms. Nesbitt's going to say, okay, let me grab my calculator. And let's double check ourselves. Because we need to know how to do it both ways, just in case we don't have a calculator. We don't want to look silly in front of others, right? So we have 15 multiplied by 23. And look at that. 345. We did it! It's that simple. Now let's go try it ourselves, okay?